Blimba Chicken Charmaine Khota AKMK and a whole bunch of other AKAs. TheSobering.
Special episode.
Yebo.
Roll up your sleeves edition. You know the vibes.
Yep.
It's Big Fred, aka Big Vax, and that's it this time around, you know? Because it is a series where we will be focusing more on the effects that COVID has had and basically a drive to make sure that everybody has the information in terms of vaccinations. And just to let you know, roll up your sleeves, get the jab, guys. It is your choice at the end of the day, but we highly recommend it. And shout out to Solidarity Fund, # roll up your sleeves with the sobering. Wow.
Yeah.
Kiki's worth it.
And we got some super dope guests. Man.
Yeah.
Talk about good time personified.
Yep.
Come on. I'm telling you, I'm talking about pajama parties. I'm talking about all black. I'm talking about roasting.
And we're not talking comedy.
You go, props. I'm talking about holiday clubs.
Ooh.
Man, am I missing anything? Come on.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah.
Man, the list can go on and on and on. And besides that, they do way more than just parties. They are just vibe curators, an amazing agency. I mean, they can say it themselves.
Yep.
Until, welcome, yo.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Gentlemen. Yeah.
Yo.
For having us.
It is.
I don't know if you want to do an intro, Jaxx. There were many AKAs that were passed on that
Yeah,
side.
I feel like I need an AKA now.
Oh, you have many though. Go to
Like
the list.
what? Give me
Go to
some.
the
Like,
list.
my name is Amahlimbelo Jaxx, aka
AKA.
Jaxx, aka
Auntie Jaxx.
Auntie Jaxx,
AKA
aka
Jay Quallen.
But yeah, my name is Amahlimbelo Jaxx, and I'm Chief of Operations at Until.
dope.
Tulani Dandala, aka Tuli Tools, aka Mr. Groove, aka your president in the Joel.
That's it. Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to it, man. I mean, just to start it off and get people acquainted with what it is exactly that you do, you know, because it's definitely more than what we introduced you as. So could you unpack what Until does as a whole?
So Until is broken up into basically two companies, which is Until Events and Until Agency. So the Until Events part is that we produce our own events, and we also create event concepts for brands. And then the Until Agency part is just like how any other agency is. We curate strategies, creative, design, etc. for brands to flight for their campaigns. Yeah. So below the line, tactile solutions is what we believe in. Yeah.
I think she said everything, so.
Yeah.
What's
your position? She's Chief of Operations.
I'm events director at Until. So, head of the party, head of the vibes from inception to production to reporting at the end, top to bottom. That's me.
First one in, last one out.
First one in, last one out, always on the dance floor. That's where I'll see you.
I definitely see
You
it.
guys have influence tools now. Now he has all this lingo. First on the dance floor. Wow, hectic.
I'm a lot. Tell me I'm not.
No, you really are. You really
Exactly. But yeah, so I'm the event director at Until. So like I said, from inception to productions to laying everything up to the curation, programming, how it looks, how it feels, how it sounds, and then obviously dealing with the brands, making sure that we get the job done for them on their end, all the reporting that goes thereafter, making sure our patrons are super happy, super safe all the time. That's what's most important to us, is making sure people have a good time and they have it safely. So yeah, that's what we do.
But it sounds like there's a lot to do in terms of like planning events. But for you guys to still be at Groove and actually groove while you're working, how do you do that? Do you have other people there?
Yeah, I mean, look, yes, we do have people that we work with on the different events. But I think at the same time, like when you're seeing us grooving, you're seeing us grooving in passing, really, I'm grooving with you on my way to do the next thing. Yeah. So
And
I
there's
know
a dance that you do when you
if
walk
it
past.
usually takes me 30 seconds to walk from point A to point B, I'm gonna give myself 10 minutes to walk from point A to point B, and on the way I'll groove a bit, and and so forth. And I'll just plan my day like that, and I'll plan like, okay, cool. At this time I must be checking that. So on my way there, I'll stop. I'll say what's up to some people. And I know by the time I've said my highs and buys, I'm at my next spot on time, and so on and so forth. So we've managed to balance that quite well. Again, we've got we've got a strong enough team where everyone really knows what they're doing at this stage as well, I think if you're asking about Genesis like that kind of Genesis, there was no grooving for tools then.
For all of us.
For all of us. If you, like a holiday club, maybe on the Sunday a bit, but otherwise, on the job.
So that's what I wanted to say.
The grooves
size of event is also important.
Good morning.
A festival like holiday club or a Genesis, you won't catch us grooving. Like we'll have 1 or 2 tequilas there, but it's like, because so there's this thing of being the face of your event where no one knows who runs Ultra, for example, right? So he doesn't, only his core group of friends. But for us, we're in that position where a lot of people know who we are. So at the events, they're kind enough because they want to say, hi, Jaxx, how you doing? Or let me buy you a shot, or let me do this. So you want to lean into that as well, but you're also still working because a big part of Until's curation of the vibe does come from our energy. When we're down, you can feel it in the event. So I think size of event is quite important. I mean, a roast, we're talking about 300, 400 people. It's a very easy groove to manage. But if we're talking a holiday club where it's like square meterage, there's like tents that side and 3 stages and pool stage and this and that.
Showers and
and like, that one we have radios on.
You guys are just
like,
taking me back. I miss that place.
It's coming back, don't stress.
I mean, at holiday club, I sometimes even like, if someone has stopped me to chat to me, I pretend I've heard something on the radio, like, yes?
Yeah.
And then leave, because I'm like, I just have to go, but I don't know what to say to you now, because you're also chatting and you're having such a great time. I don't want to be rude. I'm just going to be like, I've got to work, kind of thing. So Jaxx is quite right. The scalability is a big thing. And I think because currently what we've seen, in the past year and a half, however long we've been able to do events within this
pandemic.
In this, not BC, the post-COVID. BC is before COVID. What's
AC.
AC, after COVID.
After COVID, yeah.
Guys, you're during.
Yeah.
You're not outside. You are inside it.
Within DC,
right.
I love your optimism though.
Yeah, within DC, I think the scale of what we've been doing has been quite manageable for us. We've created Good Morning based off realizing that in this time of COVID, one is with the freedom or the lack of regulations, when the regulations relaxed a bit, live acts weren't getting the representation. It was just the DJs, So we created an event where your vocalists and performing artists could have a stage, 1. 2, it starts early and ends early. So in terms of curfews, we're fine. We built it's outdoors. We built a business model where we can, control numbers but still make enough money for us to be content with, all of those things. So when you look at an event like a Good Morning, it is birthed of this DC we speak of, this COVID, it's birthed of it. And I think that, not to blow our own horns, but it's testament to how we can adapt, within the times and how we can create within and evolve within a space where there's not much room to do so.
And how hard was the adapting? Did it take a long period of like, oh shucks, we really need to do something, or oh shucks, we really can't move, we need to really create something? How was that process of coming up with something like a Good Morning that adheres to the regulations set out by COVID?
So I think for the longest time we went through denial, a period of 2 months of just it'll be fine. 21 days, we'll be back. We'll be able to do roast by September.
Much like everyone else.
Yeah, so first 21 days, you're you haven't had a 21 days off in years. You're thank God. Then after 2 months, you're you start, because we would go into status meetings every week just to check on each other, but we're just having a big lach. Ooh, okay, so what are we doing now? But I think once we got, because the Until season runs from from September until April the next year. So that period where,
Co-event season,
where that period where COVID actually happened is not a period where we usually throw events anyway. So it was kind of like those first 2 months, it was like, okay, so how are we what's the strategy for the next year? What are our plans for the next event season, etc. And then once realizing that maybe 3 months in, when you hit like June, you're like, doesn't look like things are gonna change. And once we have, once you watch first world countries start relaxing certain things, you think, okay, this is what's going to happen to us. So now how do we adapt to what we're seeing in the West and what we think might happen to us? And then that's when we started getting into the drive of, okay, which events can we do? Which ones can't we do? For example, Holiday Club, out. That's like 1,000 people. That's not going to happen in 2021. Sunday roast, doable, but now we need a bigger venue, and scale down the numbers so that there's breathability and openness and all that other stuff. And then there's this issue of like, okay, cool, but what else can we do? Because now we've basically run through our savings. We had done very well in saving, but those savings had sustained 7 people for 7 months and all their expenses and all that other stuff. So now it's a thing of like, okay, now we have to start building and getting back to where we were. So then that's when the new ideas come in. A good morning, and how do we find ways to curate new experiences or whatever. For example, can't be in the club anymore. So what else can we do? And so I think more it was like a realization that things weren't going to get back to normal that pushed us into reinventing our events.
Yeah, look, we were also we're fortunate enough in some senses of the word to by the time kind of the COVID thing happened, we were fortunate enough to be, in a position where there was, agency work that was coming in. It wasn't major agency work, but there was enough to keep us above water, keep the head above water. And that was very important for us. And then, once your head is above water, you have room to think and you have room to create. As much as in the event and our backs were against the wall, we still had that room to just be like, hey guys, what's actually going on? What's the next steps for us to maintain what we had, not just maintain this. Not you want to live, not survive. And that was quite important for us as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and also beyond events, just your events, you guys also manage some other places as well.
We did acquire a new spot, which is something we've been wanting to, so not manage, but acquired it. A new spot
shout out.
Is something we've been wanting to do for years now. And we're fortunate enough to do it in October this year. And that's more a big learning for us because we've never, it's easy, like we can do an event with our eyes closed. I know step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But now having a shop or a spot of your own, it's constantly recurring. Every single day is an event. Every single day you're ordering stock for the bar. Now there's elements of like food and toothpicks and fix this toilet and
21 staff members.
Yeah, and 21 staff members you have to test for COVID every week because there's always someone they come into contact with that has COVID. It's things like that we're now getting into, and so that's a whole new learning curve for us. That we're currently learning through. But yeah, we did get that. And when we're ready to make the proper official announcement, we will do so.
Yeah.
This was not the proper official announcement.
So it's just that
If you know,
if you know,
most of you know.
It's not like a big secret, but we want to get into the habit of just understanding fully how it works. 360, we are perfectionists. So understanding fully how it works before we make that big announcement like, hey, this is us. But it's not like a secret.
It's an open secret.
Open secret. I mean, during COVID, didn't you feel like that was like super risky? Weren't you guys on just like safety watch as well? Because delving into worlds that you're not really well versed in could be a bit scary, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think absolutely.
Especially with like the closing of the country.
I completely understand your question, and I think I do agree with you. It was a very high risk thing for us to do. But I think we all looked around the table and said, you know what? We believe. We believe we can do it. We've been also, as much as it was a completely new industry for us, it's always an industry we've been super familiar with. We're very close friends with a range of different restaurant, bar owners, so on and so forth. We spent a lot of time with them we spent a lot of time sitting with them in their offices even, et cetera, et cetera. So as much as it was a new space, it was a space where we knew we would be able to understand. We may not necessarily get it right off the bat, but we knew that this is something we can do, and the opportunity is there. And if we didn't take that opportunity, we'd be maybe sitting here 2 years from now saying, man, we should have taken that shot then. Nothing's opened up since.
And I also think there's a worse thing in life with being complacent, right? So we could sit and say, you're opening and closing and, what's going to happen next or whatever the case may be, and be complacent and be satisfied with just doing until and just doing events. But like, when? It doesn't look like the pandemic is anywhere near its end. It's giving 10 years of this, of this chaos of just like, I promise you, dude, like, it took 10 years to eradicate smallpox. We're looking like, okay. But anyway, what I'm saying is that it's a long haul, and rather you get stuck in it, right? You learn it, you learn to adapt to it, because we can sit and say it's a risk. Dog, it's a risk to not invest in anything because events are up and down as well. So another income stream, as risky as it might be, is another income stream. And as long as we put our backs into it and find ways to, get money out of it, why not?
Yeah,
that's well put, actually.
Yeah.
Very well put. So, I want to talk about Bacardi a bit, and what you guys have done, which is super amazing, I think everybody just, when you go there, you feel the sense of unity, you feel the sense of safety, and basically all inclusive, it really... Humnade. And for me, humnade, and it's safe, like for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how, was that the vision that you actually mapped out? Like, this is a place where everybody's going to be safe and be super free in who they are, you know what I mean?
Be yourself.
You can be yourself, your sexuality, your humanity, everything, you're just so, it's so open, and you don't even fear anybody's gonna bother you, judge you, call you names or anything like that. It's like a super safe haven.
If you're asking was that the intention, then yes. We intended to create something where people feel comfortable in all senses of the word. I want you to arrive there and not think about, oh my God, do I have enough money to have fun here? I want you to arrive there and think, and not think like, oh, who's going to be there? What are that kind of person going to be like? And so on and so forth.
What section am I sitting in? What clothes do I have to wear?
Exactly. And we created quite intentionally something that all the things you mentioned that allows that level. I mean, as Jaxx had mentioned earlier, we're festival people, especially the two of us. Like we've been festival people. And there's a lot of that, obviously we take in. And what we noticed was that like there were, to that scale and to that level of quality and premiumness, there was nothing for people of color. In the first cup, I remember in the first year, we were worried about like, black people aren't used to camping, and we got a lot of like, oh, when we get there, do we really have to camp? Like, yes, you have to camp, but this, like now, it's like not even a thought for them. Yeah. It's like, yeah, cool. I bought my tent the first year. Yeah. I'm gonna set it up. Or like a lot of people were like, where do I get? They'll be asking until scouts like, hi guys, where do I get a tent? Go to Game, go to Macro. Yeah. Macro would have like specials on tents. We'd like send them a special, And we made sure that over and above everything, we maintained that absolute quality and premiumness, because that was what was important. We can't give you something that's out of the ordinary for you and then give it to you at like it's alright, so that's what we created.
Yo, I must say this. the margarita pizza. What year was that?
Yo, I don't remember. I was just thinking about the midnight KFC. There was a midnight KFC. You remember that?
I remember.
Wow.
I don't even remember these things. I always think it's like we were just too drunk to remember.
Not to break everyone's like memory lane, but like when you guys say it's coming back with COVID in mind,
Jesus.
what are the
is it still
the parameters that you're experiencing with that?
And tickets are sold out now.
So we had a very big debate about this, right? All of us at Until are fully vaccinated, right? That is the stance that we had to take. It is just one of those things for me, like, that are super important. So we had to have a very big debate back and forth for the majority of this year of what our stance was going to be. And we came to the conclusion that we couldn't do it this year because, you have to wait a couple of weeks before you get your next double vax, whatever. But if we could open the 2022 year with you have to be vax policy, then we have at least given enough people time to get vaccinated. This was now, like, we made that decision before Holiday Club. And the decision is that if you don't have a vaccination certificate, you can't come in. Simple.
And that's a stance that you guys are not only studying with it now. I think you've flirted with it on the socials as well.
Yeah. So
Your
with the fourth wave, we've now decided to start maybe implementing it sooner than next year. But the idea is not to shun anyone for their choices, but it's to protect the ones we think have made a choice in the right direction, right? Because you are compromising a lot of people by not it's not to say COVID, you can't get COVID when you're not vaxxed, guys. That's not my job. What I'm trying to say is that I would love for us to get to that herd immunity where COVID turns into the flu. So if I have COVID, I just have COVID. I'm not being hospitalized. I'm not losing taste. I don't have this hectic fever. That's what we're trying to move towards, right? And so I can't, as a stance, also a political stance in terms of us who have been the most affected by COVID in terms of events. I mean, government didn't help arts and culture. We were out there on our own. So we didn't get business rescue. We're trying to make that position in such a way where we can hopefully try and convince people with our tool, which is eventing, to vaccinate. You love this thing.
Beautiful.
You love this group, vaccinate. So that all of us as a country can get out of this hell that we're currently in faster. You're looking at all these countries that are now going through the fourth wave as well. Most of the people who are getting hospitalized are unvaccinated, right? So we're trying to get to that herd immunity. And so it's a stance that we've taken, and flipping proud to have taken it too.
That's a good stance.
It is. And it's very, very well put. I mean, if you think about it, because it is not to shun. It's not to say you guys are wrong for doing this. We're just protecting the ones that are part of this tribe.
Over and above what Jaxx has mentioned about our stance of presenting your digital vaccine card, what since we've been in DC here, we obviously work very closely with the likes of Jaxx to ensure that all the COVID regulations are met. There's sanitizer. You'll open that door now, you'll see little spray bottles and buckets of sanitizer for us. Each event, because we lose them all the time and buy new ones, and we put the sanitizers everywhere that we can. We ensure that even from a staffing perspective, we're quite strict with our suppliers about how they move in the event now. Because it's a very important thing, obviously. Question with our bar staff as well. We work with companies that are at least in the same mentalities of us. And back to Holiday Club. The one nice thing about Holiday Club is that it was never it was never to the scale of a Daisies or scale of an Opikopi where you're talking about tens of thousands of people.
Also love that.
The numbers were already controlled, so there's nothing I've got to. I don't have to dumb my numbers down from 20,000 people to 2,000 people. I'm moving my 1.5. I'm moving my 1.5, and I've got the land to do it, to ensure I probably have more than quadruple the space for the people, to be very honest. And all I've got to do now is ensure that at every important point of contact, There's sanitizers. We check the digital vaccine cards. We're watching and monitoring. Like even all the way down to medics. Medics are super briefed up now on what to expect and what not to expect. Obviously it's very different now. It's a festival. It's 3 days. I'm not talking about you arriving at 10 a.m. and you're leaving at 6 p.m. like good morning. I'm talking about you arrive at 6 p.m. on Friday and you're leaving on Sunday at 4 p.m. I'm looking after you for days now.
Anything can happen in that time.
Whatever happens to you in this square radius is me. You know what I mean? I've got to look after you. So we've got to do that to the best of our ability. We've got to ensure that from top to bottom, you are taken care of. Even in your tents, there's a sanitizer if you didn't bring yours.
Yeah, and the best way to mitigate risk on all fronts is that if the people at the festival are vaccinated. You have less horrific symptoms if you're unvaccinated. If you're vaccinated. We're in Balfour in the middle of nowhere in Mpumalanga. If your symptoms start flaring up because you're unvaccinated and you're in Balfour and now we have to get you, the nearest hospital is, I don't know, Chief, I vaccinate. Make my life easy.
Plain and simple.
I'm trying to track who spread it now.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? If every single person is vaccinated there, it lessens also our stress and worry, If it just makes it easier to control what is happening at the event. If there's some people that are unvaccinated, now I'm going to have to test all those people so that the unvaccinated people are safe.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
That's not peace of mind.
Like what happened to Rage now? 36 people test positive because your festival doesn't have a vaccinated only policy. Shut down the whole thing.
Yeah.
So for me, it's I know I speak for Until, but for me, it's a very, very personal hard stance. I don't care about your research. You were never a researcher before this. You failed science in high school, but you want to come tell us about research.
Jaxx being ruthless. Jaxx cutthroat. But I'm hearing Jaxx. He became doctors on Twitter.
Also, if you have that little green card that we all got that allowed you into primary school, that said you've been jabbed to enter life, don't talk to me about vaccination.
To be fair, one is the right of admission is reserved. And the T's and C's are there. If you feel like this doesn't agree with you, you're more than welcome not to come. No one hates you for not coming.
Yeah.
It's that simple for us. We're not trying to
ostracize anyone.
Not trying to ostracize anyone. We're not trying to say if you don't come, you're whack. It's I don't aware. What we're creating is a space that we feel is the safest space for people. Top to bottom. As you mentioned earlier, you say people walk in there, you're allowed to, you feel, your big point was about safety. And, safety is such a big word, and what we're trying to do is create the safest place, from how you feel mentally, emotionally, physically. That's what we're trying to create. We're trying to create a safe environment.
You have time, guys. It's the first weekend of March. There's December, there's January, there's but February, there we go. And then, you have time. Almost lost my way there.
The conversation of COVID and the fears of vaccinations, the side effects and things are really things to be questioned and conversations that need to be had in real time everywhere. I mean, this is why we're also doing this right now. You know what I mean? It's just to also debunk that things yo, man, I've been through it. I've gone through COVID and I went and got the jab. When I got the jab, it was sore from my the site. It wasn't even my whole arm, it was just the site, you know what I mean? And then I had a slight headache, but I always have headaches, so it's fine. So I was like, okay, cool, nothing out the norm. But I know there are other people that go through other weird symptoms, but it's a day or two, and then you'll be all right.
Get vaxxed, buy your ticket, let's groove. Simple.
That's it.
I like that.
And that's it, guys.
That's the best place to end this.
With that being said, thank you Until for allowing us into your space.
Yeah, we could talk until.
We literally can talk until.
Sure.
Thank you for providing.
I didn't even feel like 4 hours flew by. Yeah.
Thank you for providing great vibes. You know what I mean? I think the nation.
Guys. Thanks for having us.
I know you guys get cussed out every Sunday roast because you know the vibes.
Yeah.
We love you. We love you all. Because you can't get in. We love you all.
You can't hate from outside
and
the club.
For those that got their ticket and are vaccinated, Bacardi is going to be one of the, you won't forget about it. You know, like it's going into your memory bank, it's going into your scrapbook, all of that jazz. If you even have those things.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for just allowing us to have this conversation. Super appreciated.
Absolute pleasure, guys.
You guys are amazing, man. Don't forget, roll up your sleeves. You know, shout out to the Solidarity Fund, Sobering Boys, gang, gang.
Shout out to my moms.
Cheerio.